Hey, boys, how we feeling?
Good.
Love that another J squared is locked up and ready to go, and so I'll take my 10-year deal next. How about
Okay.
that?
Yeah. Do you need it all
Jaylen
guaranteed?
said, now we need Joniak. Yeah,
Do you need it all guaranteed?
I can play with it a little bit. I can negotiate.
Okay.
I can negotiate. But no, in all seriousness, I think it's one of the bigger stories in the off season that we really kind of took for granted a little bit. And when they tagged him, I had to go back and believe what Ryan Poles said at the combine that, hey, listen, we're in a good place. This also, he was very transparent about it, but also that, hey, when he does sign, he's going to get a third crack at the apple because he's young enough to do that. So he's the leader of the secondary now. Eddie Jackson was the senior leader of that secondary, but it's a young, vibrant, nasty bunch of guys that love playing together. They love balling out. And the best is yet to come from the rest of that secondary. And Jaylon made the big jump with the swipes. That's a big thing. He was doing it in practice. Dropped a few in the games, obviously, so he could add more than the 4 he had. And clearly recognized around the league as one of the top corners in the NFL this past season. People didn't throw in his direction very much. And they likely won't do it in the future either, as this young secondary continues to mold together and grow.
Jeff, I feel this sends like a good message to the entire team that if you play well, you'll be rewarded. This creates or continues to create a really good vibe inside that locker room. What say you?
Oh, 100%. Anytime that happens, every GM that I've worked with over the years kind of takes on that philosophy. You sign your own. It sends a message. It creates an atmosphere in the locker room of some leadership and the culture that you want, the type of guys that have carry the baton into the future and educate all the new guys coming up. Other free agents get attracted to that too. Free agency's kicking in next week, obviously, and it's always an interesting exercise in recent vintage about where guys want to go. They want to hitch their wagon to a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
But you also have to hitch your wagon to a rising unit, and in this case, the Bears defense right now, that's where free agent money could wind up. And that is the strength of the football team right now, right? The defense, and adding pieces on that side of the ball, locking up Jaylon is huge. You add an edge, you find out who your three technique is going to be. You pick up a safety on the back end, and this is a young unit, and it's going to be on fire. So that's one thing. You want to have at least one thing you can count on. You can count on that. You can count on taking the ball away, hopefully. Now you got to count on a pass rush outside of Montez Sweat, and then figure things out offensively, and things will get better. It will get better.
Would you like to see them add, one thing Waddle and I always talked about when this rebuild started, and Bill Polian talked a little about this with us, was about how many blue chip guys they had and how they had very few blue players. Would you like to see them add a real blue chip guy, or would you like to see them spread it around and add a few different good players?
I would like to add a blue, but I don't want to blow out the budget for it. I still have to be reasonable because obviously the top edge rushers are going to command the biggest buck. And so, there's guys even like, you think about Wilkins at three technique from Miami or Bryce Huff from the Jets. That's a player that intrigues me, but is that gonna really cost a ton of money on day one or day two of free agency? Yep. So, if you can find an edge rusher still in that sweet spot age-wise to grow with this defense, because I think with Montez Sweat, when he came in the way he did, parachuting into the season, not knowing a soul, being traded by the team that drafted him, boy, he fit in beautifully. And that's a guy now he's got to take on. He's got paid to be a leader also. Jaylen Johnson got paid to be a leader. So, you can add one more, and I think you've got enough alphas on the defensive side of the ball. Tremaine Edmonds, let's be honest. That's an alpha leader as well, and so is T.J. Edwards. And I don't want to minimize their impact because whatever's happening up front benefits them. And I think this is a very good situation for the defense because there's still a lot of young players also in the pipeline that we even haven't yet to see yet. For example, I love Noah Sewell. I loved him as the mid-round pick that he was. That's a player to keep an eye on in the future. You got Blackwell. That is a very good special teams player and a special teams player. That's still going to be significant. And if they change the kickoff return rule, which I sincerely hope they do, you're going to have to reinvest your plan with your special teams coverage because there's going to be more kick returns. So all that happens on the defensive side of the ball, obviously.
What do you make of the Ryan Bates trade? Do you expect that they made this deal for him to be their starting center or just to be a guy that can go from guard to guard and fill in whenever they need him?
Haven't had that answered yet. I did send out, some smoke signals to see, hey, what is the story there? But it feels to me like he will, at a minimum, be a veteran to compete at that starting center position. He's done it. He hasn't started a lot of games in his career, but he's played a lot of games. Clearly loved by Ryan Poles, who, signed him to that offer sheet, the current contract that he's currently going to play the final 2 years of that deal under. And at a minimum, he'll compete for something on that offensive line. He has played all 5 positions in his career. Sounds like a very high character guy. Teammates loved him in Buffalo. I think it's a perfect age fit to make that deal. And so, there's one thing about the offensive side. I don't mean to slip off of Bates, but, whoever the quarterback is, and we're having this debate on the show tonight, and we always have this debate of, do you care if it's a rookie center or a veteran center? Do you want to take something off the plate of a rookie quarterback or still a young quarterback like Justin Fields or whatever the case may be? What do you go with? You just go with pure talent. Guys have stepped in and done the job, obviously, around the league at the center position. But all I know is this. I want a bad man somewhere on that offensive line to kind of be the alpha and lead this group and be nasty, be great. It's your job, obviously, but to have somebody that has a little chip on their shoulder and you're not going to mess with too often. We need something like that in the Chicago Bears offensive line. And, there are guys that play like that, like Tevin Jenkins, like Darnell Wright. But for some reason, that center position around the league, and you look what Jason Kelsey did as a leader in Philadelphia, that interests me to also help out a quarterback, presumably a young one.
Is your mom listening to the show tonight?
No, I doubt it.
Why?
You guys probably don't even know this, but I just literally pulled into High Point, North Carolina, left the house at 5:30 this morning, drove here, and I thought I was going to miss you guys. So I just cut it very close to see my daughters at North Carolina and High Point over the next 4 days. So, it was a fun ride. Christine along as well, and she said, you're on thin water.
Yeah, thin water.
What she meant was thin ice. But, she was so flabbergasted by my crazy driving that thin water came out as opposed to thin ice.
Let me ask you a question.
I made it here in one piece.
Let me ask you a question. Do you, what are you laughing at? I haven't even asked a question
I just sent something up.
No, High Point, North.
I read red flags.
High Point, North Carolina, has long been known as one of the furniture capitals in the United
100%.
States. Do you anticipate doing some furniture shopping when you're down there?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Here to have a few adult beverages with my graduate school daughters.
Congratulations.
What do I need furniture for? I'm good.
No, you need
right.
you need a new dining room table.
He goes to Steinhoffel's is where he goes.
Okay.
He knows that.
Maybe they have a
They're a partner
Steinhoffel's
of the
down
Bears
there.
Radio Network.
Exactly. Fine sponsors indeed.
And I'm sure you drove
right.
your Toyota down to High Point as well.
I did my Toyota Highlander.
There you
I
go.
love that Highlander.
Right.
It runs smooth as silk.
Yeah.
It runs smooth as silk through the mountains of West Virginia and North Carolina.
And I'm sure that you called Yurko for a couple of Blue Chew as well, just to make sure that we're touching all the bases.
Oh.
No, I don't think
Okay,
so.
I'm just saying while we're giving love to our partners, let's just give love to them all.
What do you average as far as the speed is concerned on
I
the
didn't
trip?
know I didn't know where you were going with that after the Blue Chew thing.
I tell you though, probably not past 80, but I'm hitting 80.
So you're
Don't you
averaging about
think?
80? Yeah, of course,
I don't
yeah.
know. I mean, we got here in pretty good time.
Do you have a
Stopped
CB?
off for
You
little
have a
breakfast in
you have a
Indy.
CB in your
Had
car?
the best piece of quiche I've ever had in my life. I know that can sound ridiculous, but it was out. Yeah, it was a breakfast place in downtown Indianapolis on a little pit stop before we carried on, and it was out.
Did you say piss stop? I thought he said piss stop. A little piss and catch. He does it every
better knock
time
it
he
off,
says that. You better knock it off.
Better knock it off. You guys better knock it off.
Did you show your girlfriend around Indianapolis like all the big stops you made for the combine?
No, it was a run through. It was a run through. Drive through. Quick bite and let her rip. But I'll tell you, it was a great day. listened to Otto and Sylvie as they kicked into
You
gear.
liar. You're a liar. You weren't listening
I heard
to us.
Aki's, what does he call it? Aki's Tyler's
A-list.
what? Aki's
A-list.
Huh?
Aki's
It was
A-list.
outstanding. I was answering the questions out loud before you guys were answering them, and we're all on the same page.
Okay, hold on. Tyler, ask him one of the questions just to see if he's telling us the truth or he's lying to us.
All right, Jeff, do you want the Bears to make a bigger splash on the offensive or defensive side of the
Defense.
ball?
Defense. I said it out loud before you guys answered the question,
Okay.
just because of what I just said before. Carry on. What else you got?
Who is the next Bears player on the roster to get
Okay.
a big deal?
Yeah. DJ, no question about it, and I went Brisker, which Waddle did say, but, we're forgetting about if the man stays healthy, and if he is
Tevin Jenkins.
Tevin Jenkins. Tevin Jenkins is going to be one of those candidates indeed.
But they're not going to pay him, Jeff, are they, until he shows that he can stay healthy?
You got to show it. You got to show it. But
Yeah.
when he's playing, man,
Oh,
he's an animal.
I know.
He's an animal. They run the ball very well behind Darnell Wright and Tevin Jenkins for a reason. They're both animals. So outstanding players and the best, in my opinion, yet to come.